a lot of people really focus on going viral. And virality is not negative. It's more eyes. It's great. But we really try to help our clients focus on is building your brand.
Marketing, the thing we all despise, but it is necessary to run a business. Now, I know a lot of you are in that brick and mortar space where marketing has solely been referrals. And some of you have dipped your toes in virtual business and virtual marketing. Well, today we're going to talk specifically about social media and how we can get our brains around how social media can be good and how to actually utilize it to attract clients, because there's a difference between posting and just posting, not going anywhere, and posting and actually getting clients from social media. So I've got marketing gurus Brittany and Jake LoGrasso here with me, and they're going to help us walk through how we do social media right. Welcome on, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
We're so excited to be here, Dr. Kylie. I think social media, I personally think it's fun, but I know for a lot of people it can be scary. And we're going to have a conversation about how we can demystify it.
Yeah.
To get started on social media, how should they go about picking the right platform for them?
Yeah, great question. I think a lot of it, we really want to focus on where are the customers, right? Where are our ideal clients, right? And so some of them may be, if it's a B2B type practice, then it may be focusing more on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great for B2B. If you're going more education route, maybe building a course communities, you want to be putting out a lot of educational content, right? And so going to something like YouTube, because YouTube is the number 2 search platform next to YouTube, right? Everybody's searching. Next to Google. Everybody's searching YouTube for where to go. And so knowing where your people are is knowing who they are first and then knowing where they are. So you can pull up stats. We've run through these. They change all the time. But TikTok, of course, we know that's the younger generation, right? So if you're trying to attract younger people, they're going to be on TikTok. They're going to be also on Instagram and Facebook. But TikTok is the kind of primary platform that you're going to look for that specific demographic. And then it really changes, but Instagram is very hot for a lot of younger generation, a lot of moms, all of that kind of segment, working from home, those people. And then you also have Facebook, which is a conglomerate of different people. At the end of the day, we always say there's everybody on every platform, right? However, I can go to Walmart and try to find a very high-end Greek yogurt, or I can go to Sprouts and find it much easier, right? So it's going to be, the easiest path of resistance is going to be where those people actually are.
Not only where they are, but what platforms are you familiar with? I know for me, Facebook is easiest because that's the one I've been on personally the longest. I think I've spent probably less than 5 hours on Instagram total in my life. I know I need to be on Instagram, and I wish I would have started there first because Instagram transfers over to Facebook and you can't go Facebook to Instagram, which is annoying. I did TikTok for a couple months there, blew up pretty quickly, hated it, got off the platform. Haven't touched my platform in a long time. I probably had close to 100,000 people following me, but it was like the wrong kind of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a toxic place for me to be as an alternative practitioner. So I was like, why put my energy just in somewhere toxic? So I got off of it. But YouTube is something that I think more people should be diving into, including myself. So let's start off with the easy one first, Facebook.
Yeah. I think Facebook is a great segue because it was like kind of the original way for people to connect, whether that was friends and family, people you graduated with, someone you lived next door to for years, and then you moved away. Like, it's a very easy way to connect with people and then introduce business, introduce other parts of your life. It doesn't have to be all of your personal. And then from Facebook, the jump to Instagram, it's a little scary in the sense that it seems more younger generation, but
picture perfect.
Yeah. Instagram used to be everyone's doing it for Instagram. It has to be perfect before it's put out there. But I really think as a society, we're moving more towards, we want real, we want high value, we want education. And so if you're a practitioner and you have expertise, like, people want to know what you're knowledgeable in.
Yeah.
People want to learn.
if I can jump in too, Facebook is probably the most robust platform too. So there's lots of different ways to grow a business. We have multiple clients that are growing communities, building courses. There's lots of different routes you can go besides just a general direct to consumer service, right? And so, such as, like I said, courses and communities, those are a growing segment of the population, kind of getting into the education side and charging for that. And with that, Facebook has a lot of tools and resources. Like I said, it's probably the most robust platform because you can have groups, communities. You can have groups, you can have communities, you can build all of that out within a single platform, right? Now, of course, there's other routes we can go. There's other things, we typically don't use Facebook unless you're doing a free group, a free community. But I will say, starting out, there's definitely a lot of easy paths to walk when you're trying to build a system that can house a community or something like that.
When it comes to Facebook, I think it works great for me because I like to have the image with the story. Whereas Instagram, it's just the image. Very few people actually get into the copy of the story behind it. So that's why I've done more with Facebook. So think about those things too. YouTube, of course, is purely video. TikTok is purely video. And honestly, one of the things that I heard a mentor say is, we all have a stage in our pocket. And yet we don't even use these stages. And how many of us think, well, I want to be on stage. I want to speaking. I want to be teaching. Well, start practicing because here it is.
Yeah, I think Instagram is moving more towards people want less pictures. I mean, it's very picture based, but people want the story behind things as well. I think reels are how we explain it to a lot of our clients and people we work with, and even our students, is reels for Facebook and Instagram are a way for people to know you exist. Everyone talks about know, like, and trust. Well, reels are a way for you to just tell people you exist, whether they follow you or they discover you on an explore page, or they get something, they come across a story that your reel gets shared in. That's some way for you to be known. It's like an invitation to your party. Like, hey, everyone, come to my page. This is what I'm all about. And posts, once people go to your profile, they follow you, they kind of get the gist of who you are, what you do, and they follow you. Posts are a way to nurture them. You're kind of greeting everyone at the party. Hey, how's it going? What are you here for? I want to know why you're part of my community, why you followed me. And stories are really where the magic happens. And that this is where you get to be authentic and transparent, and people get to know the real you. So reels are people knowing you, posts are people liking you, and stories are where people trust you. I use this example all the time, but it's like, if I spill coffee down my shirt on a Monday morning, I'm putting that in my story because it tells people that I'm relatable. Like, who can't relate to, and I use this example too. I had a friend who forgot to put the coffee pot under the coffee maker, and she wakes up Monday morning and there's coffee all over her kitchen. Well, one, that's tragic because, like, you don't have coffee and now you already have to clean up this mess. But two, everyone can relate to that because we've all had that, oh my gosh, I need more coffee. So I love that example because it really is your funnel of people knowing you, like know you exist, that you're putting stuff out on social media that people can learn from or find value in, liking you as a person, like nurturing your page and, whether that's educational content or funny things that happen in your office. That might be a niche people like. But then also, that you're human. People want to know that you're human and that they can relate to you.
Yeah, and one of the great parts about stories too is that stories open up the option for direct messaging, right? So people can just literally swipe up or respond or send an emoji, whatever it is, and that opens up a conversation, right? And then now you are having a much more rich conversation one-on-one than you are on the one-to-many facet, right? Of just sending a post or a reel or something like that. So that's why we say, real stories gets people to trust you because you can really open up that conversation side and really get to, you want to know your followers. You want to know the people that want to know more about what you're talking about, right? I followed a entrepreneurial framework when we first started. It was called Lean Startup, right? And basically the whole process is we want feedback along the entire process. It's not just build it and they will come. It is build what they really need, right? Yeah. And make sure you refine that the entire way. And so social media allows us to really, everything we say, whenever we're giving advice with our clients or our students, whatever it is, it's all testing, right? Social media is a huge testing ground to see what works, because tastes change, flavors change, trends change. And we really want to know, we don't want to just put out something that we find valuable, right? We want to put out something that our audience will find valuable. We have a very strategic focus on always adding value in everything we do. And that's, we truly believe that everybody who has a platform has the opportunity to add value in some way, right? And so that's just a key tenet we want to focus on, is really adding as much value as you can without asking for anything in return.
Yeah. When I think about social media and marketing in general, I think two forms. I think one long form marketing and two short form marketing. Social media is a long form game. Podcasting, it's a long form game. Whereas short term marketing is like, hey, I'm going to run ads to a launch, because that's going to get me clients like now. But when you run ads to a launch, people enter your world. Do they go to your social media first or your website?
I would say we often see it as comes social media first, because that's oftentimes where you're running ads, right? So they may click on the account, they may click on the link directly, but a lot of people like to see that there's a brand behind just an ad, right? I do that all the time, because there's been multiple times where I get an ad and there are 2 posts on that page, and I'm like, it's probably not somebody I'm going to be working with, right? Like, I want some more brand validity, I want some more validation, and that's ultimately what social media can provide if we choose to build it correctly, right? A lot of people really focus on going viral, and virality is not negative. It's more eyes, it's great. But what we really try to help our clients focus on is building your brand, building your name, building your reputation, because that's what social media is used for, right? It's just a deeper, like I said, more rich form of getting to know somebody and getting to validate their own platform, their own company, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, something we always say to our clients and our students too is social media, if you think about it, it's online networking. Like, and people can have a view of networking, if you're extrovert, if you're not, if you'd rather sit on your couch in your jammies. Like, I get it.
Great introverted influencers on social media.
Yes, absolutely. But it's all about really helping the person on the other side of the screen. Like, you went to school, you have a lot of knowledge, and you know more than the average person about your expertise and your lane. How many people need to know that? How many clients need to know what you have to offer? And then other people that might not have known something. I learn something new on social media every day. And
it changes every day.
And it changes every day. Like, I learn something about social media every day, but I also learn just random facts about life on social media every day. And those are the people I like to follow, because I know they're going to give me something that I can take and use later on in life.
So I'm just throwing this idea out there, that because I get people like, what do I need on my website? You don't need a website. Your social media is probably more important than your website at this point in the game. When I run ads and people see the ads and they want that social proof of who I am, who the brand, does it exist, like all the background, they then go flip to, I'm running ads on Facebook, so they usually just click on the profile, go to my Facebook page, and they see things there, versus going to my website, channeling it through my homepage, and it's not what the game was in the early 2000s. People think I have to have this grandiose website, and you don't. You need to have an Instagram, a Facebook account, and everybody can have one of those, and it's free. You don't have to pay anybody to have a website. So think about that as you guys are going into this virtual world and trying to expand virtually. Where's your audience? And then I love what Brittany's know, like, and trust model is. So a reel is when people get to know you, who you like, that you exist. A post is they get to like you. And then the stories are where they get to really trust you. And her and I met at an event, speaking of networking. We were at an networking event, and we literally flew across the country to be there, because networking is that important, and being in the room is that important. And she explained that to somebody. It's like, oh my gosh, I've never heard that before. It's so smart to break it down in segments. Like, okay, I'm going to start here. I'm going to start with reels. And when it comes to Reels, one of my favorite things is I'm not very consistent with Reels. That's why I like pictures and stories, because I can do that at 10 o'clock at night after all the kids have gone to bed. But I used to do very religiously like a content recording day where my assistant and we would go somewhere local and she would have my phone. We didn't have no fancy camera and a microphone attached to it. And we would just record 30-second, 60-second type reels. And then what I found is that captions, because I mean, as we're scrolling through social media, I never listen to sound, ever. I read. And so even if it's a reel, have the captions on it. Do you guys have a secret sauce to putting captions on videos?
I would say we have a secret sauce for general social media content, which is Brittany can say because it's her favorite thing.
People always say content is king. We say high quality, consistent content that connects to your audience is king. So, and we don't mean
I say content's not king. Conversion is king.
Yes. Yes.
You don't want to just be putting content out there if it doesn't convert into anything.
Exactly. You want to make sure you're connecting with that audience. So making sure you even know who your audience is, what they want, and then providing the value that they're seeking. You know, they are looking for something. Make sure that you are the page that's giving them what they want. And so we totally believe in batching content, but also 80% of users don't use social media with sound on. So make sure that whatever that caption is or whatever's going on the screen is super valuable, because if 80% of people aren't listening to your voiceover or you speaking, then that's 80% of people who aren't going to get what you have to put out there.
It's the hook. Mm-hmm. It's that one sentence, that hook that grabs the attention. And I mean, I probably haven't done videos because I know that that's the statistic. And I'm like, okay, how do I get captions on there? I have a way of not sharing my secret sauce here, so you don't have to share your secret sauce on it either. But there is ways now to take a video and have captions done quite quickly. And honestly, TikTok does that. At least when I was posting on TikTok, you could click the CC button and it would automatically do captions for you.
Instagram does that as well.
Yeah, so RG does that as well, so that's nice. What were you going to say, Jake?
I was going to say something else we really focus on is the story. So I'm a story brand certified guide, and what that means is we really focus on what is the customer journey when they come, interact with you, right? Who do they become after they work with you, and what's that aspirational identity and all those things. And so what we really focus on is how do we convey that message properly through the hooks? How do we integrate that, talking about the problem? That's something that we always focus on, is what problem are our customers actually facing? Because that's what's going to hook them in. That's what's going to resonate with them. If they see, oh, I've been struggling with, X, Y, or Z symptoms, then that's going to reel them in to see that there is a solution or there is another way of going at it than the traditional methodologies. Right. And so that's something we really hammer in on, is on the hooks, is really how do we integrate the story of the customer throughout that process too.
Stories sell, facts tell. And you don't get good at stories unless you practice. And social media is a great way to practice. Right? All right, guys. We've done a lot of nitty-gritty stuff. How the heck did you end up where you are? Let's get into knowing you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I can start, and then feel free to correct me
if
I throw anything in there. So we actually started our company with web design in 2020. It was during COVID, and we just had lots of friends that were starting businesses during COVID, all the things, and wanted to be able to help and support. Brittany has a lot of social media experience throughout college and our high school years, just doing internships and whatnot. And I had a little bit of the marketing background from a previous company, and so we decided, we're going to build websites and do that. And so we did that for a little bit. It was really not, that wasn't what we were focusing on primarily. I had a full-time job, and, we were just kind of going through and doing what we can. And then we realized that we actually really enjoy the entrepreneurial side. We really enjoy working with people. Brittany grew up on the entrepreneurial side. I did not. And so it kind of had my eyes open to a whole different way of life. And so we're going on, and then...
Welcome to the world of time freedom.
And then we really pivoted to doing social media management primarily. So That was a lot more content creation, content curation, all of those things. And I started seeing success there. And then a lot of those clients needed websites and all those things. And so we've just kind of been progressively expanding and growing our services throughout that process. And like I said, now we have clients that are building communities, and we've really become more of a strategic partner with a lot of our clients that are launching and growing, so that they can really refine what their offer is and how do they build that community. How are we going to fill it, right? How are we going to add value? What are the systems and processes we need in place so that you can really squeeze the lemon and get as much value added to these people's lives as possible.
Yeah. And we also think really big picture. We do everything from web design to social media to email campaigns. And then we've got a client who's looking at retail. So figuring out a marketing strategy, getting into retail stores, going from direct to consumer to a big retail launch. And so that's been fun for us. Just, I have experience with affiliate marketing, influencer marketing. So kind of using that and social media and driving traffic, but also that value of what does the customer want? The customer is still going to be the center of how we're marketing, but really driving that. But I love social media. I grew up on Instagram. I was on Instagram when it was like a nobody's. No one knew what it was. It was like you posted a random picture of the sunset and you got like 2 likes and you were like famous. And then it became this whole influencer thing. And then people are like, okay, don't want to use it. And TikTok came out. But I am a very analytical.
What about Instagram Threads?
It's like trying to be Twitter. That's not even called Twitter anymore. I think everyone just wants to be the next big thing. I think there are funny things about Threads, but I don't really think a whole lot of people are using it.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
There's a lot of people that are trying to say that it's growing a lot faster than X when like they post false data in their posts. And so like, I don't know. I don't have, an answer for that, but I'm like, if people are being dishonest, there's an issue there.
Yeah, and visual is gonna sell. We stay where our market is, anyways. But I don't think you're going to be building your entire business on Threads. I think Threads is, if you're bored and you want to scroll one more thing, go for it. But we really love. I love doing the analytics behind things like people behavior. Where are people coming from? Why are they clicking? What's their demographic? What kind of content do they like? Do they like posts? Do they like reels? Do they like stories? Do they like long captions, short? I mean, I can go deep dive for hours on some of our client stuff, but that's really where our heart is. And at the end of the day, we love seeing businesses win.
Yeah.
And social media is one platform or multiple platforms, if you want to look at it as multiple platforms, to bring in clientele and to let people know, like, and trust you to build that out. We just have to give a little snippet here about Clubhouse, because Clubhouse had its moment for like 6 months.
Right. During 2020.
Yeah. So the few things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, like those things are made to last. Do you do much with blogs and Pinterest?
I would say we don't personally, but one other thought in that same vein too is that we always advise, of course, do what you can, right? A lot of social media comes down to mindset, comes down to false
perspective,
limited beliefs. There we go. Limited beliefs. A lot of that, like, we can just get so in our minds about, needing to be perfect, and it only got 2 likes in the first minute, like, delete it. And like that, we can have so much just anxiety with that, but we really need to shift that perspective to, like I said, testing. And so we always say, do what you can. If you can only post on one platform a day, do that. However, we also suggest if you can post on multiple platforms, then do that, because they're one obstacle with social media is that it can go down, right? Like there's been twice this year, I think, so far, that Facebook has just like gone down completely. And so for a day or whatever, and if that's your only way to communicate with your audience, then you try to diversify if possible, right? So
have an email list.
Yes, so there is great benefits too.
Get to that. Like, how do we get social media people to our email list?
Exactly. Yes. So having hooks, so we usually use Linktree in our clients' portfolios to really drive those lead generators and drive that email list and drive those offers that they're really focusing on at the time. And so if you have a website, you can that's great to add as well, but really focusing on what are those lead generators and how can we add value that is an exchange of contact information as well.
What would be your number one recommendation for getting people from social media to an email list? What have you seen works the best?
I mean, one is consistently creating that content and value, right? Because we want to develop that brand reputation. So that's, it's hard to do that without any rep. So one, do that. Two, have a really great lead generator. So that's something we focus on with every one of our clients, make sure that they have a lead generator with a hook. And again, that adds value. So it can be a course, it can be a PDF, it can be a short ebook, something like that that's free, but that is an exchange of contact information for value.
Yeah, you'd be shocked at how many people, I mean, maybe you're not shocked. I was shocked at how many people don't have a lead generator.
Critical.
They literally they count on somebody else referring them for their business. I'm like, you're going to put your business in someone else's hands like that? To me, it's crazy. So we could have a whole entire another episode on lead generators. What works, what doesn't. But the most important thing is you have to just start and you have to test. And I will say, I've had guides out there. I've pulled them and removed them. In fact, this book was on Amazon. Keyword was. It's now been removed. I can never know what's going to stick and then what's going to drive clients. So I took that book off Amazon because people were buying it, sure. But I wasn't converting clients from it. So I'm going to remove the sucker, rewrite it, rework the funnel, and actually use it to get clients. So there's don't go into this whole idea thinking that what you're going to do right now is going to just be the one thing that you do forever. You're going to post something, you're going to learn from it, you're going to create a lead generator, you're going to learn from it, you're going to manipulate it, you're going to get something better. But the biggest thing is to shift, one, the mindset, and two, just go do. Because without action, your business isn't growing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think, Dr. Kylie, you also just described entrepreneurship. That's entrepreneurship at its best. You're testing, you're figuring out what works, you're pivoting, you're being facile, you're reacting, and you're just figuring it out. Social media is no different. It might be a different platform or a different mindset, but you still have to treat it like your business.
Yeah. I think a lot of times I think of it as if I have a destination on a map, right? I know exactly where I want to go. I know what the end result is. I have no idea what it's going to take to get there. I have no idea how many hills, how many valleys, how many, roadblocks, how many whatever it is are along the way. And you're not going to get there. I think of it like there's a predetermined amount of obstacles that I'm going to face. There is 20 things on the road. And I'm not going to get to that destination unless I start going one by one, moving along the road, right? But if I never move forward or if I stop at the first one, I know that I'm not going to get to where I want to go because there's all those obstacles. And so it's just like I said, having that perspective of testing is what really helps shift a lot of the students in our class, helps shift that mindset of okay, if I post something and it flops, that's okay. And if I post something that I thought was dumb and it blows up, that's also great. It takes the pressure off of success, right? What do we look at success? A lot of times we can just identify that as the end result, but success is moving along the journey, right? It's moving along that road and getting across those obstacles.
To me, success is the journey. And I've had to get to that point where it's okay, I'll feel successful when, versus I've said many times, my website's going to be done before I have this kid. This is going to be done before. No. It might be done temporarily, but then I'm going to get new ideas. I'm going to do new things. I'm going to tweak programs. I'm going to tweak sales pages. It's a constant process. And if you don't like the process, then this entrepreneur world ain't for you.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy the process and the progress, no matter how slow. You feel like you're going to take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. You're going to go 5 steps forward and 2.5 steps back. It's a journey. So just enjoy the journey. Yeah. And social media is part of that journey.
Yeah.
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 All right, guys, where can they learn more about you and find you?
Well, you guys can find us online. We do have a website. It's markedcollab.co. So that's markedcollab.co. We're also on Instagram. Jake and I post all sorts of stuff on our personal pages too, but we're online. If you search us, you'll find us.
So if you need help with marketing, go check them out. Start with their website, markdcollab.co. And their biggest transplants from Dallas, Texas. So they're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from me now. But they were small business owners first, marketers second, and like everybody else, they've just seen a need that they are able to fulfill. And if you have a need in marketing, they can help you fulfill it. So go join them, go talk to them, and thanks, guys.